They were getting ready to attack Israel.
Strike and 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 I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. How
can one Chandra be so leaving?
I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of
Israel.
Strike and 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 angels have even dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus, from South America, they're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. From Africa, from South America, angelic horses.
They were getting ready to attack Israel.
Strike and 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 strike.
海へ駆り立ってた。
俺の財宝か？欲しけりゃくれてやる。探せ。この世のすべてをそこに置いてきた。
男たちはグランドラインを目指し夢を追い続ける。世はまさに大海賊時代。
ありかけの夢をかき集め、探し物を探しに行くのさ。One Piece。羅針盤なんて渋滞のもと、熱に浮かされ怪獣を取るのさ。誇りかぶってた宝の地図も確かめたのなら伝説じゃない。閉じる時な嵐は誰かのファンをリズム乗っかって思い過ごせばいい。ありかけの夢をかき集め、探し物を探しに行くのさ。ポケットの恋。
Who do you wanna be, my friend? We are gonna be. We are. Welcome, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, everything in between. We are here for a One Piece chapter 1185 prediction stream, open mic stream. You guys know the deal. This is not our first rodeo, guys. We will be taking open calls, any comments, questions, theories, concerns. Anyone that wishes to debate me on anything One Piece related, geopolitical related, religion, philosophy, whatever you guys want to chop up and discuss, we will be doing that today. Welcome in. Hope everyone's having a wonderful morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. Now, chat, of course, maybe not of course, actually. Instead of us using StreamYard, right? We usually use StreamYard for the open mic calls, right? You guys join the StreamYard with the link. And then we proceed to have mic problems. People can't hear each other. Instead of us using StreamYard, we will be using Discord. So this is exactly why you guys should be joining the Discord server, where you don't get a million pings like all those other annoying servers. You don't get a trillion pings on my server, right? Join the server so you can hop into a text channel. Here, let me actually, or a voice channel. Let me actually put it on the screen right now so you guys can see. This is how you guys are going to join the open mic. Welcome in Wong Woki. Welcome in Wabriel. We got Womad Worm. We got Will of Weems. We got Weens Life. We got Juan. How's it going, everybody? Hope everyone's doing great. We got Winston. So chat, if you guys want to join the calls, there's a voice channel you see on my server, this voice channel with a big red circle titled Live Stream Open Calls. This is how you guys will do it. Come debate. And even if you guys don't necessarily want to debate per se, actually, maybe I should have started this stage a little later because I don't want to immediately hop into calls. Yes, chat, we will be doing calls, but I don't think I want to do it immediately. I think I want to just talk to the chat one-on-one for a little bit, because I know a lot of people, maybe you guys don't have microphones, maybe you guys are at work, or maybe you guys are scared of your voice. Maybe you guys got a little bit of that insecurity going on. You guys got a little bit of that soy stuff going on. We got a few soy boys in the chat. I think the biggest soy boy is right here. I'll be there. Just let me wake up first. The biggest soy boy. The king of the soys. You know, we got Luffy, who's trying to become the king of the pirates. Then we got Young Smokey, who's trying to become king of the soy boys. And you know what? I think he's actually on his way there. And then you got a call center voice, Queen Gay. Where is Queen Gay? We're trying to get him into the open mics. We've been trying to get him in these for at least a year now, over a year now, trying to get him to join the open calls. You know why? Because he's tired of doing the calls. That's why. King Gay, aka King J, he's not going to join the open mic calls that we have on stream every week. You know why? Because he has to work at a call center every day. Madam, Google Play Card can fix your Microsoft account, madam. Where is he? King J, I am summoning you right now. All right, chat. So is there anyone that wants to ask their questions or share a theory? Is there anyone that wants to say something in text chat before we start the voice calls? Let us know. And of course, to the few of you guys that are on Discord at the moment, we're live on YouTube. Guys, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. If you guys have anything you want to say in text chat before the voice calls start, I would do it ASAP, chat, because as soon as we start the voice calls, it's going to be much harder for the non-callers to get a word in. Now, guys, I have been doing my reading. I've been reading the Bible, reading the church fathers, reading academic philosophy, and this one in particular is important, rereading One Piece. So I'm refreshing my mind. I'm getting everything in order with One Piece again. You guys know when we read weekly for a long time, you forget a lot of details. You forget a lot of information. This is why it's always good to reread One Piece or rewatch One Piece. And don't get me wrong, like most people, One Piece is just like, it's like an entertainment, right? They're not here to make videos and make a Reddit post and debate. But some of us are here to do that. Some of us do like having discussions and creating theories and trying to map out who's stronger than who and what arc is next arc and which character is more important than the other and what is a Chekhov's gun that will happen in One Piece. All these types of things. This requires us to have a very sharp mind. So every once in a while, I do find myself rereading One Piece and going back and refreshing my mind. We recently began at the Reverie arc, quote unquote arc, right before Wano. So there's a lot of things popping in my mind that that I totally forgot about. So first of all, You guys know in chapter 1138, what do we get in chapter 1138? We got the Elbaf mural, okay? In chapter 1138, we got the Elbaf mural. And in the Elbaf mural, what did we get? We got text from a quote-unquote second world about a forest god, a forest god taming. Whoa, what's going on? A forest god taming demons. Now, if we're going to try to talk about who a forest god is or who the forest god is in the One Piece world, we might want to consider the properties of the forest god. Well, first of all, he's able to quote unquote tame people, right? In the Elbaf mural says the forest god tamed demons. So it must be the case that the forest god in One Piece has the ability to tame people. But another interesting detail here is it's not the forest god tamed humans or giants or Tuntata, or the forest god tamed lions, the forest god tamed mice. No. It's the forest god tamed demons. So this is going to be another important point. But as a joke, guys, if you're on my if you're in my Discord server, I made the joke that in the beginning of the Wano arc, what did we see Tama do? We saw Tama tame monsters. You guys remember the lion dog in Wano, the Kumuino, as well as that baboon, and Horselina. Tama tamed all of them. Now, technically speaking, someone can look at the baboon, right? The baboon that Tama tamed and say, hey, I'm calling it to question. How can you try to argue or insinuate that Tama's the forest god when, hey, what did she tame? She tamed a baboon. That is just an animal, dude. Hold on, why is this stylus going off? Evil, Tama tamed a baboon and a lion dog. Those are just animals. But I mean, when we see things like demon, the term demon used in One Piece, it's not so straightforward. These things depend on perspective. That's why recently Emu said, or Emu asked, what is the difference between a god and a devil, right? A lot of these things, a lot of Oda's aims in One Piece, or a lot of the things that Oda aims at and uses in One Piece depend on perspective. So when we see that the Elbaf mural talks about the forest god taming demons, the question is, what do you mean by demon? Do you mean they're taming devil fruits? Well, how do you tame a devil fruit? You mean create a devil fruit? So now you see the issue that we're going to be facing here. If someone were to look at the phrase that the forest god tamed demons, someone can deduce that to mean the forest god created devil fruits. But does it necessarily say forest god created devil fruits? Well, no. It says the forest god tamed or was taming demons. So you see, like, a lot of these theories, a lot of these discussions, a lot of our ideas in One Piece have to be mediated, or the product of mediation. We don't have just raw panels in One Piece. We don't have just raw information in One Piece, and we present it as is. Everything needs to be interpreted. Everything needs to be interpreted. So, I mean, if someone, again, was talking about the Elbaf mural and they were calling it to question who the forest god is, well, what's stopping me from saying Tama's the forest god? Because Tama was taming monsters. That baboon, that lion dog in the beginning of Wano, those are monsters to me. Those are just not normal, like a normal little chimpanzee. Those are monsters. Tama was taming monsters. Moreover, when she was taming those monsters, were they not near the woods? Were they not in a forest? You guys remember that? Luffy washed up on the shore. So why can't Tama be the forest god taming demons? You see, so this would, if someone really hated these theories, if someone hated these takes, we would have to go to the presuppositions. Why is demon here, forest god taming demons, not applicable to the monsters Tama tamed. We got Damon Deuce. God bless, bro. Late night stream on Discord. Give me a couple minutes and I'll hop on. I'll be happy to see you there, bro. I want to chop it up with Damon, Eric, John, Jabril. I do have one question. When Saul joined the Giants, was it after Harold got the seal? Wait, what do you mean join the? You mean the Marines? He joined the Marines? Was it after Harold got the seal? If it was before, why wouldn't he listen to Saul saying that the world government destroyed O'Hara and he shouldn't join them? Harold was killed after O'Hara. Is that what you're trying to argue? Is that what you're trying to say? Let's pull Vincent in, or let's pull Smokey in for a second. See if Mr. Smokey has something he wants to add. Smokey, I'll probably be throwing you in and out of this voice call just so you could get a little bit of narration going on. What's going on? What's up, bro?
Yeah, what's happening? What's the question?
He's asking, I do have one question. When Saul joined the Giants, was it after Harold got the seal? If it was before, why wouldn't he listen to Saul saying that the world government destroyed O'Hara and he shouldn't join them?
So I need one clarification. Are you okay? Did you mean Giants or did you mean the Marines?
That's what I'm saying. The Giants. I think he meant Marines.
But didn't Saul join the Marines after Harold died? That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, you would still end up with the same kind of question, because I think the crux of his question is, why is Saul joining the Marines? Regardless of, while Harold's alive or after he died, like, I think his question's like, why would you join the organization that...
Well, I mean, didn't Harold, before he realized that he messed up, wasn't he already preparing to get some of the Giants into the Navy? Even before he caught on to what was going on?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, and that's a fair point. But if the world government destroyed O'Hara, that was before Harold was killed. Did Harold even know that the world government destroyed O'Hara?
That's a good point. The only way he'd know is if he was talking to the Gorse.
Yeah, I guess right? Why wouldn't he listen to Saul saying the world government destroyed O'Hara? So wait, another question I have. Saul told, what's his name? Wait, hold on. I'm so confused.
I am too. I am too, buddy.
When I do have one question, when Saul joined the Giants, I think he meant Marines. Was it after Harold got the seal? It was before. Why wouldn't he listen to Saul saying that the world government destroyed O'Hara and he shouldn't join them? Wait, are you saying he shouldn't join as in Harold shouldn't join? I'm confused because you went from asking about Saul to then saying that Saul made a claim to Harold. Hold on, retype your question. I'm so lost.
Be confused. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna move you back to the audience. Appreciate you being here, Smokey. I want to try to get some one-on-ones. We'll do quick one-on-ones. I want to hear everyone's comments, questions, theories, concerns within reason. So if I pull you guys in to talk, try to be concise. We want to get as many callers as possible. We want everyone to have an opportunity to speak, share their theory, critique something, whatever it is. We want to have as many people as possible have that opportunity. So if I pull you guys up for a call, for a question, whatnot, try to be quick and concise. All right, how about we get JK $ in here? Let's get JK $. I have invited you, JK $, to. Okay, I pulled you in.
Howdy.
Yo, what's up, man?
I was the one who first proposed the question, so it's perfect.
Okay, perfect.
What I meant by Saul joining the The Giants is when he showed up to Elbaf with all the books and all of that. You think he would tell Harold what happened, and that would cause him to not join the world government?
Oh,
Because he even asked to build a school too. You know, it's not like he's just like, I'm coming here to live here. I asked for to build a school, and the Harold's like, yeah, build a school for us, and all that.
So and
it's not like brought up between the two of them of this discussion. Like was it after the seal? Because if it was after the seal, he'd be like, oh shit, I went too far. But if it's before the seal even occurring, is he just going like, yeah, he's totally lying about that. He just stole books.
I think it's definitely before the seal.
And like, it just seems so weird. Like, why would he just like not even listen to it? He probably even like asked him about that maybe too, or maybe when the whole thing with Rocks at the Reverie made the whole interruption before you can even think of asking a question like that, because he's more focused on what happened.
Well, maybe Saul was totally afraid of people finding out that he was at O'Hara, because O'Hara was supposed to be totally erased, both physically and ideologically. So maybe Saul was so terrified of people knowing that he knows of O'Hara since he was at O'Hara that he wasn't even willing to tell this to King Harold. Maybe he's like, yo, this knowledge of O'Hara, I'm keeping it to myself. I'm not even going to tell Harold.
That's totally acceptable. But it's like it's hard to accept that as well, because it's like, I feel like if you're literally just coming here with a bunch of books and no questions asked, and then just show up, and you magically meet a fucking owl that can, sorry for my language, but an owl who can like transform every single book big, like that's just weird as fuck. Like, sorry, but
it's cool.
What are we talking about? You know?
Yeah, it's probably the case that Saul kept this information to himself. He didn't want people to know that he was from O'Hara, at least in the sense of going there as a Marine, you know, knowing of O'Hara, it's supposed to be erased. It's probably that. That's a good question, though. Appreciate that, JK $. If you have more things you want to talk about, please stick around, bro. I'll pull you back in. How about we get Nomad up here? Let's see if Nomad has something he wants to talk about. Guys, do the YouTube things, comment or like, subscribe, noti bell. If you guys want to go above and beyond to help me, help the channel, Stream Elements link at the top of the chat, or I guess at the bottom. But Nomad, what's up, bro?
Yo, you?
I hear you, man.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to be the guy that points out the obvious, you know, because I like to keep nuance there, and this is not a story that should involve politics per se. That's not outside of whatever Oda's already written for the story. But I've been looking at the David clan, and I'm thinking, yo, is the David clan an all-black race?
Are they an all-black race?
Yeah. Like, most of the David clan members have curly hair and dark skin.
Well, firstly, I would want to say that One Piece is definitely political, but and there's nothing wrong with that. I think, like, you know, some people in the real world, they're so afraid of politics that they'll die on the hill and say One Piece is not political because they themselves don't like politics, and they would hate for One Piece to be related to something that they don't like. But to answer your question about the Davy clan specifically, is Eris in the Davy clan? Oh, she is in the. Wait, is she in the Davy clan? Because she's more of like probably like a white girl, right?
I would say by marriage, Eris. You talking about Blackbeard's mother, right?
Yeah, so by marriage, so she's not ethnically like Davy clan. She's like biologically.
Yeah. And you understand that there are other D clan members that obviously are not what I'm speaking on, but maybe it's only because of marriage or because of the will of someone else that they maybe took over way back then. But it's coming to a head now, because now that we have Brooke backstory, and we see how he looks, and and from the side to side comparison, he definitely looks like Blackbeard when he was younger. And then if you compare that to Kuzan, it's like they all look alike. Like it's almost 1 to 1 to 1. It's like, well, if Brooke may be a David, then we also may have to look at Kuzan as well being a David.
Yeah, I understand the point. It's funny because I was looking at Brooke like in the recent chapters, of his backstory. I was looking at like young Brooke, and I was thinking like he is definitely black. So I think there are characters in One Piece that would be black, and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Like, I think it would make sense. You would have French characters, German characters. Even in the Reverie, we had King Hamburg. That looks like the most like Abraham Lincoln, like American, right? So I think Oda definitely has like, these characters in the One Piece world, they're the French guys, these are the Italians, these are the black people, all types. But Davy Clan, I don't have an issue with them being black people, but I do want to talk really quick about your point, if that's okay, about Brooke. Now, I understand the idea behind two characters looking very similar. So maybe they're brothers, maybe they're cousins, maybe they have a common ancestor, maybe they're of the same race. I understand that. But I think a lot of the times it's very hard to make that bridge because with manga and anime, especially One Piece, the authors, the mangaka are very limited on how they can design and draw someone. So many times you'll have two characters look very similar, but they have nothing to do with each other. And it's just mainly because of the limitations being drawn. So if I could give an example, right? Spandine, the dude that was at O'Hara back when it was destroyed, he was on the phone, whatever. He looked exactly like Zebek, like literally 1-to-1, like a clone. But I don't think anyone would believe that Spandine is a Davy D member. I don't know, maybe someone out there does believe that, but my point is I think like it's very hard to bridge a connection between people just because they look very similar. And I totally understand why people would think that way. I even play with that in my head sometimes. I look at Mihawk, I look at Emu, I'm like, bro, they're so similar. There must be a connection, but I think it kind of begs the question, like, why? Okay, they look similar, but what is the bridge though? Like, there's a gap there. Just because they look the same, there's something. Why do they look the same? Is it because one's a father and one's the son? Is it because they share the same grandpa? Like, hope that kind of gives my thoughts on it.
See, I was the reason why I preface it with what I said earlier is because I understand that, these are Japanese anime, and that representation they don't really have to do it. You understand what I'm saying? So when I mentioned that they look alike, I was only speaking towards the fact that I don't want to believe that there's a commonality, a common, ancestor or anything with it. But like I said, it's coming to a head where it's getting hard to deny. Like we mentioned in the Mihawk and Emu references, like if there's a possibility that there's some type of relation or some type of connection, then we would once again have to go back to this conversation and be like, well, there has to be some type of connection.
Yeah. So I would
just don't be a guy.
Yeah, I understand. What I would say is I understand the two characters look the same, but I don't think because they look the same that they have to be related. I would say that there's a gap there. What's the answer to that gap? Like maybe Luffy and Dragon, they look very similar to each other, but that doesn't explain the full story. Luffy and Dragon look similar to each other because of this gap right here in the middle. Dragon is the father of Luffy. Or maybe, I don't know, what's another example? Maybe Garp in his younger days, he kind of was similar to Luffy in a certain way, you know, at least like a scar on his face. Is that because Garp was Luffy's father? No, it's because Garp was Luffy's grandfather. So even though like there might be similarities between two characters, every case where that happens doesn't always have the same answer. Maybe they're brothers, maybe they're one's the father, or Shinx and Shamrock. That's a better example. Shinx and Shamrock, they don't look the same just on the flat surface of they're related. They look the same because they're brothers. So there's always a middle gap that has to be explained.
That makes sense. And I guess what I'm referring to is the gap. Like, yeah, me and you both are probably alluding to the same thing. Like, what is the gap? Because you know, Oda throws so many hints and so many clues, and when it's all said and done, we're gonna go back and be like, duh, right there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the last one to know type thing. No, that's pretty much what I mean with it.
Yeah. This is interesting to think about. I do like this conversation. You know, Brooke with the curly hair and whatnot, very similar to Blackbeard. And I mean, kind of interesting that we never had Brooke's family name or surname given out. We never really were told his race, like his people, like. What was that?
We know him as a homeless person. I said we know Brooke as a homeless guy in the Superior Kingdom, meaning that he may not even be from the Superior Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
very good point.
And since we don't have his full name, which Oda could this is the second flashback of Brooke now, so there's no reason why we shouldn't get his full name. So it has to be some importance to something else.
Yeah.
That's why I'm at with it.
Okay, that's a very good point. We don't have his full name. We don't know where he's from technically. So now I'm not saying you're making this argument. I don't think you're even making this argument. Maybe someone out there in the chat would make this argument. They would see that Brooke doesn't have a designated surname. So then they would make the leap and they would say, look, he's a Davy D. Brooke. And then I would ask, well, why is that? And they would say, oh, well, we don't have his name. So obviously that means he's a Davy D clan member. But I would argue that's a leap. Like the fact that we don't have his surname doesn't automatically give us that his surname is Davy D. And the reason I'm even saying this is because I see these kinds of things all the time where maybe there's an opportunity for something. It gives the possibility for something, but people use that possibility as like some type of argument or confirmation. So I would offer that to everyone in the text chat, anyone watching. Yeah, there's definitely a possibility that Brooke is not like how Nomad said he's not even from Hesperia. You know, maybe he's a part of the Davy clan, but just because that's possible doesn't then make it an argument per se. Anyways, was there anything else you want to share before I rotate?
You can go ahead and rotate. I'll be in chat.
All right, appreciate that, Nomad Sherm. Always good talking to you, bro. And Sherm, if you want to talk some more, I could pull you back in. Just stick around, bro. Hope everyone's enjoying the stream so far. It's a nice, calm, chill stream. If you guys want to join the calls, comments, questions, theories, concerns, debate, One Piece, religion, philosophy, geopolitics, whatever you want, Discord server. That's where we are doing it. Join the Discord server and you can come talk to me about whatever you want to talk about. Let me answer some of the messages in chat before we continue. Abigna, welcome in, bro. Do you think there's an N-word in the One Piece world? Honestly, it's probably just the phrase D-clan. I think when, you know, someone in the One Piece world is called the N-word, you N-word, it's like, oh, you D-clan. I think that's what it has become. The Celestial Dragons just use D-clan as like a derogatory term. Yo, Oofmatic, welcome in, bro. Saint Pro, welcome in, bro. The guy that kidnapped Shaki for the world government kind of looked like he was related to Moria, especially the ears. I actually don't even remember that. The guy who kidnapped Shaki. I think I hated those chapters so much that my brain just didn't retain any of the info. With Roger and whatnot simping all those dudes. Roger, Zebek, whatever. What chapter did that happen? I don't even remember. All right. Any other comments, questions, theories, concerns in the text chat? Did I miss anything? All right. I don't think there's anything else. Jabriel, God bless you, man. Let's pull in Mets. All right, Mets. You want to come up and speak? All right, Mets, I'm inviting you up to call. I'm inviting you to the stage. Mr. Mets, you can accept the invitation. All right, Mets, I'm inviting you up to the stage if you want to talk. If not, we're going to pick someone else. Are you there, Mets? Doing Stanley Cup finals. Okay, I don't think he was ready. Let's invite Damon up to speak. All right, Damon, I sent you an invitation. It was Wang Ji, one of the Rocks Pirates. Yeah, I don't even... Oh, yeah, because didn't they, like, run off to do their own thing? And then they kidnapped the girl. See, I didn't even like that stuff. It's bad, man. I was so turned off by that writing that I just don't even remember any of it. All right, Damon Deuce, are you able to join the stage? Is it allowing you to accept the invite? All right, while we wait for Damon, let's pull up Smokey.
Yo.
Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's good? By the way, you already said it, but I was going to say Ochoku was the one that took Shaki.
Oh. Ochoku. Wang, is that Wang?
Yeah, Wang Ji. Yeah, that's Wang Ji.
Oh, okay. Wang Ji.
Yep.
Appreciate
By
that.
the way,
oh, whoops. He just got smited in the middle of the sentence. Oops.
I was going to say, by the way, guys, I'm not going to get smited. Man, I didn't even start my Hava Nagila song yet. I'm already getting smited. But anyways, I was going to say, I'm hearing from the streets that there's a chance that the flashback could end this week.
That quick?
Yes.
Wow.
I was actually crazy. 3 chapters. I was saying 3 or 4 when it started, and then they told me that it was 2.
2?
That it had already been 2 chapters so far.
Oh,
so I was like, wow,
I thought you meant like it was.
I can't even believe that it's already been 2 chapters in the book, the Brooke backstory so far.
Nah, Nomad Sherm brings a great point. Now I want to see Brooke's surname given. I want to see Brooke's race, his people, his clan. Nomad Sherm brought up a great point.
I think he highlighted it amazing for me. Like, we're seeing Brooke in Hesperia, but Oda has yet to fully confirm that he's from Hesperia. All I know about is he had a mom, a dad, and a little brother.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all we know about his family.
In the narrative of One Piece, you can't look at a child on an island and jump to the conclusion that they were born on that island.
Exactly. Because, you know, Oda, he loves his tragic backstory, so they could have just drifted to the island after being with Lucia.
After being smited like you, boy. All right, Smokey, I'll bring you back up. Let's get Vincent in here. Let's get Mr. Vincent. What's up, bro?
Hey.
What's on your mind? How are you? Oh, how are you doing? First of all,
I'm doing good, man. I've just had a fairly exhaustive week.
oh
I'll
man,
just sit down and relax.
I hope you're able to relax, man. Unwind and
Yeah,
unload.
fortunately, all my labor will be rewarded.
Yeah, it usually is. It
All right,
generally
so
is.
on to the Brooks stuff. I do kind of thinking that there is some kind of baby plan connection because, like what Smokey said with the song that he sang in the last chapter with referencing little brother. Now you have to keep in mind you were already 70 years and a half starting your platform. Then we jumped to 63 years, which would have happened in the same year that Big Mom and Loki were on Elbaf.
Big Mom and Loki were on Elbaf 63 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
right.
27 when he was telling the story that comes from. When we go back
Like in the first
11.
part of the flashback.
Yes.
Okay, I want to clarify to make sure I understand. The first part of the Brook flashback, where he's 27 or whatever, Big Mom and Loki were on Elbaf at that point?
I believe so, since this would have been 63 years ago.
Oh, yeah, because Brook is older than Big Mom, right?
Yes, he is currently 90.
Oh. Yo, Brook is a boomer, dude. I forget that sometimes.
Yeah, he was. Anyway, actually, what he was saying about what he was saying about the song that he sang about when he was 11 about having a little brother. Now we don't know if he's related to Blackbeard directly, but there could be a connection between him and Sebek as in the Sebek's older brother.
Wait, whoa. Brook?
Yeah, Brooke being Sebek's older brother.
Bro, that would be the biggest game changer in One Piece history. What the hell? Brook is Zebek's older brother. So Brook would be Blackbeard's uncle. Yo. Brook, wait. Brook as a child on Hesperia. That was before God Valley was destroyed.
Yes.
Because that would have been 70 years ago. Hold on, let's run the math. Brook is 90 years old. Okay, let's run the math really quick. So let's write this down. Brook, right now, he is 90 years old. Okay. The first flashback, he was how old?
It was 70 years ago, so 20.
Let's see. Minus 70. So he would have been, you said 20. Okay.
Yes.
Now the second flashback, we know it by the age, right? Didn't they give us the age? They said he was 11, was it?
Yes, they did.
What was that?
Yes, he said it was 11.
Okay, appreciate it. Sorry, I think you were cutting out. 11 years old. So then that would have been 79 years ago?
Yes.
Okay. So this is way before God Valley was destroyed. This is 79 years ago. God Valley was destroyed 40 years ago. So this wouldn't be a conflict in that way. Wow, this is actually way before God Valley was destroyed.
And this would be exactly 40 years prior.
And Zebek, wait, you said Zebek would have been Brook's little brother.
Yes.
And we got to run the math on Zebek. So Zebek died at the age of who?
I don't know. I would assume that he was probably the same age as Ryan, if not later.
You said the same age as Roger?
If not a little older.
So he died 40 years ago at the age of what? Because 40 years ago, Roger was 55? No. He was like 20 something, right? Hold on.
No, he probably would have been Roger's age.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to figure out Roger's timing then. So how old was Roger at God Valley?
This was died at 56.
Died at 56, but that was 20 years ago. So, okay, let's write it like this.
19 years prior. So 19 years.
Roger died. Okay, Roger died 20 years ago at 55. So let's just say right now, Roger's 76, right? So if God Valley was 40 years ago, then that means Roger was 36. Does that make sense? So if Zebek was in the ballpark of Roger, then at God Valley, then Zebek would be 76 as well, or at least in the ballpark, and Brooke is 90. So Zebek would have to be, give or take, 14 years younger than Brooke.
Then if he was 11, it'd be hard to tell. It wouldn't make much sense for that. So probably closer to him being like 9 and Zebek being a good equal. Or maybe the kid was even born yet. But that would look separate.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be strict with these ballpark numbers, then I would say in this flashback where Brooke is very young, Brooke is 11 years old, Zebek wasn't even born at that point. Unless Zebek was older than Roger. So we really have no clue on Zebek's age? We could only ballpark it?
I'm not entirely sure.
We don't.
He met Loki 58 years ago. So that was 5.
I you know what? I almost feel like Zebek was older than Roger. And that's why Zebek had his era. I think like Zebek was the older dude. He's like, yo, I'm running this season. Roger's like the come up. Gabe.
Maybe. So maybe he was like, maybe he was Shank's age at that point, like around 40 or 41.
Okay, so when Roger was at God Valley, Roger was 36, but Zebek was older than him. Right? You're saying Zebek was like 45 or something like that?
Give or two.
Okay, he would have been 45, so 9 years older than Roger?
Yeah.
Okay, let's run the math. Zebek would have been, or he would be, 85 years old right now. Oh, we could also think about the Yonko, right? Like Kaido and Big Mom. Zebek presumably is older than them, right?
Yeah. I would say so. He's definitely didn't look older than like.
And Linlin is 76. No, she's 68.
I think he discusses.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think some more and come back to this math, but the idea that Brooke is the older brother of Zebek is actually insane. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Vincent. We'll probably run back to you here in a bit. I want to get some more one-on-one calls, and then maybe I'll throw in multiple people in a call. Let's see if Damon is ready to speak. Damon, I have invited you to the stage. Thank you, Vincent, for sharing that, by the way. we always get some interesting things from Vincent. Always has like some cool insight.
He does. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. What's up, bro?
What's up? What's up? Okay, before I had jumped in through my Xbox, and so like I wasn't able to receive the request through Xbox, so I had to switch it up.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Yeah.
All right. So what's on your mind, man? Is it something Brook related?
And I would say, yeah, exposition wise, I guess it's cool now that we're getting Brook flashback, you know, because it's always funny. Everybody was hearing about, hey, you know, Elbaf is going to be about Usopp. And now it's like it's flipped on his head, and now it's about Brook now. We're getting Brook exposition. Now we're getting everything about with Shuri, aka Gunko now. So now it's giving us more exposition on other Straw Hats besides who we thought was gonna get the spotlight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is kind of sad for the Usopp fans. I mean, how many years did even I myself would argue, you know, Usopp has been neglected, but don't worry, Elbaf, man. As soon as we get to Elbaf, we're gonna get the best backstory, the best power upgrade, emotional growth, whatever. But no, actually, it's Brook. Brook is the one getting the spotlight.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I got something for that. Yeah. Stay tuned.
Dang, what was I gonna say? While you were explaining that, something popped in my head. Oh, you know, this is not really like necessarily tied into what you're bringing up, but just like the idea that Gunko used to be named Shuri, but now she's just known as Gunko is interesting. Why does she have a new name? Is it to hide her identity? Is it because she became a new person? She has a new soul? Like, why is there a name change? Because that wasn't explicitly addressed, right?
You're right. You're right. So there's definitely a lot of discourse behind that. Like, we don't know, like, is she dead, or is she alive? Like you said, like another person's soul. Like it's a lot going on right there until Oda explains what needs to be explained. We just go on what's in front of us. We know exposition wise, she's a former princess from a nation that's no longer here, and now she's almost like the handmaiden to Emu now, and she's also a god's knight.
And another thing that pops in my head as well is the fact that there is direct attention on her not aging or her even being alive. How? Oh no, this keeps bugging out. Basically, Oda wants the reader, because Oda's serving it on a platter to us, like explicitly. People saying like, how could that be her? Why does she look so young? How's she still alive? That's quite different from people saying that, Blackbeard's gonna have a third devil fruit. Like I think there's distinctions in the One Piece community as to when something is obvious or not. So my point is Oda is directly causing the reader to question how Gunko is still alive, how she still looks young. Now, the thing is most people would argue that this was granted by Emu through his demonic powers. But then when we question Emu, then, well, according to Ivankov, Emu must have had the Ope Ope no Mi used on him. So in which direction do we go? Is Emu's perpetual youth from a different source than Gunko's perpetual youth? Like, is Emu's perpetual youth from the Ope Ope no Mi? But then Emu's subordinates, even the Gorosei, which we saw hundreds of years ago, Saturn, for an example, when he approached Emyth, they had their aging paused, but people would presume it's because of these demonic powers, diabolical covenant, and whatnot. But I'm throwing out all these things to see what you think. How would you go about this?
No, I think a lot of that would stick. I would definitely go with, there has to been a certain point in time where she made the pact, and from that point on to where she made the pact, like her aging just stopped. And that would also breed more why she wears that mask. So her identity won't be exposed. Like, hey, that's a former princess right there who's the handmaiden to Emu. Because that would breed a lot of questions. You know, like a princess just goes missing from a country and nobody knows where she went.
Similar to Queen Lily.
Right.
What's up, SL? How you doing, bro? That's a great point. Putting the mask on, changing the name, so then there's less suspicion. Well, how is she? People would see her.
In plain sight.
Yeah, because if people saw her, they would ask, well, one, how the hell is she still alive? Two, how did she not age? Three, why is she with the world government? That would raise too many red flags.
Right.
Okay. So
it's definitely a lot of exposition there.
So would you say that there's a great possibility Emu's immortality is has come from a different source than Gunko's quote unquote immortality? Or do you think no, they have the same source for their aging?
That Gunko, she an offshoot of what we've already seen with Emu. Like him being able to spread like his power. I equate it to like how you remember during the ninja war in Naruto, when Naruto was able to partition his chakra off to everybody on the battlefield, and he was doing mathematical equations in his head to where the chakra mix, he was getting the mix of chakra down to where people were more receptive to it. I think of it as kind of like that in a way with like Emu is able to like push like the demonic contracts under people with that energy. It's kind of like that mix. So when it takes control of your body, like, okay, hey, you've made this pack, you don't age anymore. That comes along with those set of demonic powers that he has to where he bestows it on to people, if that makes sense. Because we've seen it with Saturn, you know, on Egghead, after he flipped the switch, like he took the powers away, Saturn just aged immediately. Like the timer ran out.
Yeah.
And then he
withered away.
Withered away. Yeah. So I think something like that exposition wise will probably, after this Brooke backstory, make us happened with Shuri. She got kidnapped or whatever the case may happen, and Brooke went off on his own adventures after, you know, his country got destroyed or whatever, it destabilized, if you will. And then he became a pirate. So Shuri's going to get thawed out. There's going to be a chance for Brooke to kind of make peace with her or something like that. Then possibly I feel like Shuri might die.
Oh, shoot.
Because I think her place in the story might be done. I can't see it going forward. People talk about Shuri's going to join as a straw hat. I'm like, no, she's not going to join the crew. No.
Okay, that's just bizarre.
No. Yeah. You know, like you say, people grasping at straws. You know, just throwing stuff at the wall, see if it sticks. But exposition wise, I feel like after this backstory, Oda wants us to feel for her. Now, the position that she's in current day, she's having to serve Emu. She probably doesn't want to. And Brooke said, I think, in chapter 11, 82 or 83, I believe. No, 83. He was saying it was like 3 different personalities.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that borders more opposition to where Oda wants you to show where she was to who she is to where she is now.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point.
And having to grapple with all of that all at one time.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. And just to shift gears a little bit, I want to address this really quick. When we are having this conversation, guys, about the immortality in One Piece, we see this idea that Emu has this immortality from the Ope Ope no Mi. But the reason this is a prevalent take is because it has been directly stated in the story. We know that when Sabo made it back to the Revs, Ivankov openly said Emu was a member of he was one of the first 20 founding kings of the world government. Is he alive from the Ope Ope no Mi? How do people know that Ope Ope no Mi grants perpetual youth unless someone tried it before? The point is that this idea of immortality deriving from the Ope Ope no Mi is directly stated. Okay, but if we look at someone like Gunko, Damon made phenomenal points about all sorts of things there, but he mentions that, for an example, Saturn withered away. He instantly rotted. See, now I would argue that that was under an interpretation. That wasn't like directly, that's not directly understood, directly presumed. And I do agree that it's like his time ran out, as Damon would say. But you see how these two things, these two situations between, oh, well, maybe Imu has the Ope Ope no Mi, versus having to deduce what makes the Gorosei or even the Holy Knights live longer and have their perpetual youth. They're not treated the same. The answers are not from the same method. One is direct, right, over here, where the author through characters are telling you the answer, or at least giving you an option, versus the other is what I would call indirect. Now, I want to point this out because a lot of times One Piece fans will say, hey, I hear you, Damon. This is an example. Damon, I hear you, but the problem is that X, that's too obvious. Well, something could be obvious. X could be obvious through indirect means, or X can be obvious through the direct means. But when you look at the course of One Piece, indirect being obvious can serve to be the true answer, because what you did was you read in between the lines and you discovered what Oda was hinting at, what Oda was foreshadowing, and then that, oh, it was obvious, we knew it all along, rings true because Oda foreshadowed it. Whereas if there was something directly stated in the story and people perceived it as, oh, well, it's very obvious and there's no way that can happen, it a lot of times will it'll be false, right? Because Oda planted this idea in your head. That way it'll be a bait and switch. He diverts your attention. Oda wants you to read Ivankov say Imu's immortal from the Ope Ope no Mi. He wants you to think that, so he has Ivankov literally say that. But I say all this to say that, generally speaking, when I read through One Piece, at least from my own experience, when something is directly stated, when we have these theories and conclusions directly told to us, it usually leads to bait and switches. But when we have these other theories or conclusions or ideas that are more indirect, where you have to read in between the lines, those, by the sharp-minded reader like Damon, those will usually lead to correct, true answers and conclusions. This is a very important distinction I want to make. We were actually talking about this exact subject, this whole exact idea between direct, I don't know what to call it necessarily, direct conclusions versus indirect conclusions. And I hope you guys are able to take something away with this. But refocusing back on Gunko and Imu, there's a lot of great points being made. Saturn's timer, it's like he sped up, he just instantly rotted and withered away. But Imu, Oda wants us to think it's due to a devil fruit. So, I mean, it could be the case, Damon, let me know what you think, that Imu's immortality, the trigger for this chain of events of Imu being immortal and then Gunko being immortal, the trigger was the Ope Ope no Mi. And because Imu was able to, because there is a first cause, right? Let's explain it that way, maybe. The Ope Ope no Mi is the first cause. It made someone perpetually youthful, and we need that person to be perpetually youthful, because only they know how to use the demon packs to make other people perpetually youthful. There would have to be like a first cause. You couldn't have an infinite regress. Like Gunko was made immortal from Imu, and then Imu was made immortal from this other guy, and this other guy was made immortal from this other guy, just like infinite covenants going back. There would have to be like that first cause. So it could be the case the Ope Ope no Mi is the first cause. Through the usage of the Ope Ope no Mi, it made Imu perpetually youthful. And because Imu's good with Maki, black magic, whatever you want to call it, he's able to make these demonic pacts with people like Gunko and grant them perpetual youth, but in a different way. Now, Damon, I want to know your thoughts on all this. I'm sorry for just throwing out a million different things, going in all these different directions, but curious to hear your thoughts.
Oh, you're perfectly fine. Like I was gonna say, I was gonna piggyback on that. So we can look at it exposition wise, like the Alter Open no Me. I would think that would be a catalyst, if you will, with Emu's plan. So let's say someone who's perpetually youthful, they won't age. And let's also go along with the train of thought that if he so happened to make a pact with a demon, so to speak, the blood-stained serpent, and the serpent put its soul into his, and he was like, "Whoa, I have this power now. If I combine this with the open no me to where I'm perpetually youthful, I won't die." Kind of like a devil fruit. If like a user dies, it goes back in and recirculates. That devil fruit's not going to recirculate if the user doesn't die. So let's equate that thinking with that. That could have been a big brain strategy of Emu's back then. Like, we don't know what happened with the Lunarians or whatever the case was. And he was also a founding member, probably took it upon himself to like be like, hey, I have this power. I have a hand on the wheel to control everything and every facet of outcome from here on out with these conduits of power to all be able to know me, this demonic pacts that I can make, and being perpetually youthful, and also taking over my clan. All of these conduits together can form the cohesive plan to be able to rule over the government as a shadow, if you will, with the founding mothers and fathers, those 19.
So you would say
that's what I think that is.
So that's really great. So would you say for Luffy, the Nika is in place, he's stationary because Luffy's not dead, but Emu, I don't know, maybe the blood-soaked serpent soul is stationary because Emu's vessel hasn't eroded? So instead of it being like a devil fruit, in Emu's case, it's like a soul, like the devil soul or the blood-soaked serpent soul. Is that what you would say?
I yes and no. Yeah, I've been flirting around with that theory. You know, just kind of like the soul displacement, like they battled the demon, like they battled the serpent, and the serpent wanted to find a new host, if you will. And so Emu himself made himself the host. And then he found out about the Api Api no Mi, and then so used somebody as a sacrifice to be able to stay perpetually youthful, because we don't know if like you implanted someone's soul into you, like if you died, would that person's soul go away? Because we don't know if it would recirculate like a devil fruit would. So if you die, you die, like, and that power is gone. So to keep that power, that conduit together, he just went ahead and made himself perpetually youthful, just off top, just so he can keep that power within himself. And it also makes sense, like, okay, hey, if I can't die, I can just siphon this power off to other people and make pacts with them. And once I'm done with them, I can just take that power away. Like that.
Okay.
Kind of like how we saw what's happening.
All right. Thank you so much, Damon. I appreciate all these awesome thoughts. Damon always has great insight. Emu had to begin the chain. Emu began the chain. And he's siphoning off all of this power, these covenants with his subordinates. Awesome stuff from Damon, chat. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys are able to piggyback off of his thoughts. Damon, thank you so much for being here, bro. We could probably circle back to you if you're around in a bit. We're going to try to continue cycling through callers. I think the next one will be SL. Actually, no, the next one's going to be Jabril. Jabrill's been waiting a while. Then we'll go to SL, and then maybe if there's no new callers, we can have multiple people in at once for a certain amount of time, then cycle it off to another group of callers. But if anyone wants to hop in, comments, questions, theories, concerns, debate me on religion, philosophy, One Piece, geopolitics, whatever you want, you name it. Join the Discord server. We are on Discord right now in a stage. You guys could look on my server. There's a stage, there's a voice channel called Live Stream Open Call. So you guys can join that and talk to me about whatever you want to talk about. Share your theory. I don't know. Tell me a fun fact. Whatever it is you want to share with us, you have the opportunity. within reason. I ask that you guys try to keep your thoughts concise. The floor is yours. You're here to speak whatever it is you want to talk about, but within reason. Don't try to go on a 6-hour long tangent, right? We want to get as many people as possible to call in and have an opportunity. Jordan, I'm glad to see you here, bro. Yeah, it seems since Emu has an eternal lifespan, he could share his lifespan with pack members. However, the cost is that it makes Emu vulnerable if they die, and he has a limit of 13 people. Emu having an eternal lifespan is interesting because when we talk about Emu possibly being or most likely having perpetual youth, I would argue that there's a distinction. And I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I would argue there's a distinction between Emu's eternal lifespan. I think lifespan is probably not the same exact thing as bodily functions, organ functions. So when we talk about the Opa Opanomi granting immortality, the distinction, the important thing here is that we're talking about a body that doesn't age. It's like paused in time. I would argue that that's not the same thing as an eternal lifespan. And again, I don't think you're saying this, but I'm just kind of giving my thoughts on the whole matter. If Emu does in fact have this eternal lifespan, my question is, how is he able to do that? Is he pulling in lifespan from slaves? He's sucking up their souls and stealing their lifespan. He took lifespan from the Gorsei. I think something like that is highly likely. I think Emu is like, hey, if I'm going to make a pact, make a covenant with you, Garling, right? You're going to become a holy knight, and I'm going to make a pact with you. You give me your lifespan. You give me your lifespan. I let you have some of it. I give you some powers. I pause your aging, whatever. You give me your lifespan. Because Emu, I need to have an eternal lifespan. I need to live for as long as possible. I think Emu, it's going to be a case where Emu has to essentially juggle, maybe not necessarily, for lack of a better term or lack of better words, juggle his perpetual youth with his limited lifespan. I think even if Emu has perpetual youth, there's probably some lifespan drawback. There's some like his soul becomes weaker, his soul becomes more faint or something like that. You know, especially with like the coughing we've been seeing, Emu coughing up blood, that could be due to his lifespan becoming weak. I don't know. So all sorts of directions to go with this stuff, but let's get Jabriel in here. Let's invite Jabriel up to the stage, see what he has to say. How many ways to get immortality in One Piece? We know 3 for sure, but it has to be more. Well, one seems to be through a demonic pact with Emu, the diabolical covenant. Another seems to be the Ope Opanomi. Now, you said there's 3. I guess Sugar, right? Yeah, you mentioned Sugar. Sugar, her body stopped aging due to her devil fruit. I think that was asked. Someone asked about that in an SBS. I think Oda pointed that out, that his or her fruit does that, pauses aging. But I think that I think when we talk about Sugar's devil fruit granting someone perpetual youth, pausing their aging, I don't think I don't think that the goal for Oda is to bring grand significance to Sugar's fruit. I think the purpose of Sugar's fruit in the grand scheme of things is to point at the Opa Opanomi or to point at Emu. I think it's meant to foreshadow. It's meant to be a shadow to something greater. Jabriel, are you there? You want to accept the invitation to speak? If not, Jabriel, we're going to have to go to SL. Guys, if you are enjoying the calls, if you guys are enjoying the stream, go ahead, do all that YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, noti bell, chat. If you guys interact with the like button, with the subscribe button, with the notification bell, You guys can help grow the channel, help grow the community. We got the one and only Craw in chat. God bless you, bro. How are you doing, man? How are you doing? Yeah, I don't think Jabriel's here. Let's invite SL to the stage. SL, you want to accept the invitation? And unmute. What's up, bro? Glad to see you, Craw. Hope everything's great, man. Hope you're doing great. We got a nice, small, chill stream.
Oh, there we go. I had my, I was like, why am I muted? But it was my, my actual mic was muted physically. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, not muted through Discord.
There we go. Yeah, it was like, but it was muted on both, but like, I forgot about that.
Welcome in, bro. How are you?
I'm chilling. I freaking, yesterday, I don't know, the last 2 days I was in the sun a lot, and I actually got pretty dehydrated. I was like way out too long, not enough water.
Sunlight is very important.
Today, and I've been chilling, trying to recoup, you know.
Sunlight is very important because, you know, we will naturally produce vitamin D from the sun, but some people, they would rather get supplements that bring vitamin D, but that's not as potent. It's not as natural and good overall as opposed to actually getting sunlight.
Yeah, the issue was I was just like didn't have enough water, and then I also had taken some other stuff, like some like herbal type stuff internally, like detoxing stuff that really like dehydrates you on top of that. So
sure.
I got pretty dehydrated, but I'm good. Like I'm dark as crap now. That's all I know. I've been getting a lot of them the last 2 weeks, so I'm freaking dude. By the end of August, I'm gonna be. I don't even know what I'm gonna be.
you gotta, if you're gonna be out there getting all the sunlight, get a big jug of water and mix in a little bit of sea salt.
Sure.
That'll be very good.
Like Celtic sea salt or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Celtic sea salt, mix that in. Electrolytes, all that good stuff. But
oh yeah, for sure, dude. Without the electrolytes, you get the foot cramps, dude. I got one of those last night, dude. Oh my god, I hate those.
Abigna
so long.
Abigna asked, "Are you wearing your blue light blocking glasses too?"
I am, yeah. I'm on my computer. I'm always wearing them at the computer.
He is on his what do you call it? You're a health guru now.
Something like that. I've been doing a lot of detox and a lot of different stuff. Dude, there's a lot of important stuff because today, man, is bad with like all the EMF and all this everything, heavy metals, and like a whole list of like a Santa Claus list of stuff. So it's like you gotta protect yourself.
Wemby wears blue lights too. Wemby, I had to look that up or look him up. All right, so what's on your mind, bro? Is this something about Elbaf, Emu, Brook? I want to hear the theory. I know you got a theory.
I don't have necessarily anything like a new theory that I have at the moment. Nothing has really sparked anything in the last few chapters as far as that goes. But I'm still curious about devil fruit and stuff, obviously, like the full story to it that Oda's still concealing that we'll eventually get. Like with the origins, like, I mean, Emu's devil fruit is called devil fruit. Like,
I'm still not entirely sure how to deal with that.
Yeah, me neither. And then the Ragnar thing was kind of weird too, because like at first, it was almost like Oda was trying to make it seem like Ragnar was like similar to a devil fruit, but it never outright stated that he was a devil fruit. And then later on, he is confirmed to be a mythical zone. So it's like, okay. So there was that.
Yo, Glacier, welcome in, man. Yeah, Ragnar is an interesting one. I guess he, like you said, he was confirmed to have a mythical zone. He was a hammer that consumed a fruit somehow. You know, I always get reminded of Wano. We had the teapot consume a raccoon devil fruit. right? So there's always a precursor. There's always been this open possibility of more objects consuming devil fruits. Spandam's sword consumed the elephant devil fruit.
Right. Yeah, good old Spandam.
He's not good.
Nah,
Just
nah,
old.
just- nah.
Old Spandam.
Just old. Dude, the only person I want, I won't say the only person, but I want Nell, I want Yarouge. Come on. Where's it at, Oda?
Yeah, we everyone wants NL to be back.
I know. And I've been rooting for Yarouge to show up in Elbaf, but so far, not yet. And I'm wondering where Kid is at. Like,
you said Yarouge? You're waiting for Yarouge to come back? He's in the Discord stage right now. He's in the audience. I think he's in the stream chat. Where is he?
He's the only Smokey, yeah. He's the only warlord, or not warlord.
Worst
He's
gen.
only worst gen that still hasn't like had more of like a shine and a story and everything. Like more explanation to his backstory and things.
Dude, even Hawkins played a significant role in Wano. Hawkins?
Yeah. But I'm just thinking about Kid, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I mean, he might seriously be dead, and I've been thinking that for a long time. But I'm still kind of waiting to see. But dude, honestly, if Elbaf concludes and Kid just like is in jail the whole time, that would be kind of dumb. Like
Imbel down, you mean?
Yeah, like everybody's like he's in that Elbaf jail.
Elbaf jail. They have a jail?
He's just rotting in jail while everybody's fighting. Like,
I mean, he is a
I don't
bum.
know, dude. Yeah, that's kind of bummy. Like, imagine we go through everything and just at the end, like the fight's over, and then we go to the Elbaf jail, and it's just like kids just in the jail. Like,
I mean, who knows how Elbaf is going to end anyway? I mean, I still don't know how to feel.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Because we see the ammunition of like, I guess this is split into two factions. We'll just say pro Luffy, pro Emu to keep it short. I mean, you see the ammunition of the pro Emu side. Oh, main villain, so strong, OP, Void Sentry, took out Joy, blah, 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 blah. There's no way he could lose. You see like their arguments, but then you'll see like pro Luffy. It's like, okay, well, Emu can be driven away without necessarily dying or being defeated. So I don't know, man. I have no idea. Chat, anyone else watching the stream, YouTube stuff, please like, subscribe, noti bell. Comment down below, how does this arc end? Are you pro Luffy or are you pro Emu? But SL, you don't know how to feel, do you?
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to see what Oda does. I have no idea, honestly. But I don't know. I would lean towards like Emu having to withdraw / retreat or whatever you want to call it. I would lean towards that, but I'm open to whatever. So we'll have to see. But I do kind of think, I mean, it was kind of already implied in a way, or it was kind of shown that like the elders are already concerned for Emu leaving because of whatever the restriction is that they have that like affects them from leaving the Holy Land, which was a theory for a long time that Emu is restricted to the Holy Land, which makes sense. Well, we know now that they can leave technically, but it's just really against them to do so. Like it's really not in their favor to do that. So it's obviously why they don't. And so we know like they're on, I mean, some people say they're on the time limit. I don't know if that's necessarily technically correct, but they seem to have some sort of hindrance that affects them. So the longer they're out here, they probably don't want to be out here for that long. So they're probably trying to wrap things up. And if they can't, then I don't know. I guess they're just going to have to withdraw. Like, I don't know what else they can do at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think when we have people argue that there's like a timer or something like that begins or enables when the Emu and the Gorosei leave the Holy Land, I think that might be a little. We might be a little too quick to say that. I do agree exactly with what you're saying. There's some type of hindrance, but I don't think it's obvious what that hindrance is. You had a lot of good points here. Emu withdrawing, I understand that. I do want to ask though, because I keep forgetting these little details. Wasn't Emu coughing blood prior to going to Elbaf?
I don't remember. I don't know. Because,
if people are gonna bring or call into question how Emu and the Gorse are hindered. Because if we're gonna talk about how Emu and the Gorse are hindered when leaving Marijoa, then we have to talk about things like Emu coughing blood. That's why I asked the question: is Emu coughing blood prior to leaving Marijoa?
Yeah, I don't think they were. It was only after they arrived
when he was
through
in the castle, right?
Yeah, it was right after he teleported, like when he was in the castle. Yeah, and he like transformed. Well, he spit blood and then I think transformed right after, something like that. And then, but for the elders, yeah, we've never seen that. So whatever, it seems it's different for them. And maybe that could have something to do with the immortality surgery. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it just has to do with, I mean, I've always thought that it had to do with the rituals that they did way in the past. Like, I've always tied that to my theories, thinking that they were restricted to the Holy Land. So that confirms that I was right. It's just about how I was, or like how that works, like what the actual ritual was, like what actually all took place. That's the question. I mean, other than we don't know for sure 100%, but like probably the immortality surgery was part of the situation.
I want to mention that if we are being as precise as possible, we're going to have to notice when things are circumstantial evidence versus when things are just straight up direct evidence. So in the case of Emu coughing blood, we could see how he didn't cough blood until he first left Marijoa and he appeared in Elbaf. It could be argued that him coughing blood, or him being in Marijoa, is what caused him to cough blood. But how do we not know that's just not circumstantial evidence? What if it's like what you're saying, SL? What if he's coughing blood because of the rituals? What if it's because of the surgery? What if it's because he's been feeding a lot of energy to the Gorse and Holy Knights recently? Just because he is now in Marijoa, I don't think that's a direct confirmed link as to why he's coughing blood. I would argue that it could be a circumstantial reason, but there's no direct link there. Like, let's say I was very hungry, right? I'm very hungry right now. And then now at 12:30, I'm suddenly not hungry anymore. Am I filled and satiated because it's 12:30? Or am I satiated because of another reason? Like maybe at 12:30, that time took place. I ate a plate of food. Someone could go look and say, well, look, at 12:20, he wasn't satiated. He was so hungry. But then as soon as 12:30 came, well, now all of a sudden he's satiated. All of a sudden Eddie's not hungry anymore. Well, it must mean because the time went from 12:29 to 12:30. That's why he's not hungry anymore, because it's 12:30 now. Versus the more direct evidence, no, I'm satiated because I ate food. Yeah, it happened at 12:30, but just because the time was 12:30, that doesn't act as direct evidence for me being satiated. So my point is just because Emu started to cough blood when he went to Elbaf's castle, when he left Marijoa, how can we say that that's the direct link to him coughing blood? How do we not know it wasn't that just was when it happened to take place? Do you see my point? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you don't want to draw assumptions, but yeah, like I don't know. Sometimes people just assume stuff or they say different things, but we don't have all the information, so it's hard to know exactly, but it doesn't seem like a timer. Like there's never been any implication of it being like a timer. It's just more like they're concerned for whatever hindrance is occurring.
And
There's never been like, you know,
I also want to add to SL in the text chat, guys. Everyone should make theories. All you guys should have fun. One Piece is entertainment, right? I'm not anti-theory. All I'm saying is if we're all trying to put our brains together, me, SL, Glacier, Gabe, Jordan, Abigna, if we're all trying to put our minds together, put our brains together, and figure out what the heck is going on, let's cover all bases. Let's be as precise as possible. So we can get the answer, so we can get the theory, so we can cook, chat. Anyways, SL, anyways. Go ahead.
There was one of the things that had come to mind when you were talking, but man, I forgot it now. I lost the train of thought of what it was.
It's very hard to stay on topic. There's just so many things.
Yeah, true. Oh, I think it was I was thinking, oh, that's what it was. Yeah. So I was thinking about the possibilities of like if Emu withdrew, because I think I personally still am sticking with Emu withdraws and then things get worse, because I think that post Elbaf, or right around the end of Elbaf, post Elbaf is when Dragon's gonna make his move. I've been thinking that since the beginning of Elbaf, so I still think that's gonna happen. And then I think Blackbeard's also waiting to make his move too, because we know he's watching Dragon's movements, the Revolutionaries, to make his move. So he's working off of their movements.
At the Red Port, right?
Both of those big players. But like, if we were to go the route that Emu still has some hope of lasting and being like the finale, then the possibility that I could see for that would be if the Eve tree can like regenerate them or something, like when they come back to the Holy Land. That's the only thing I can think of. But and I do think the Eve tree will have some kind of weird something to it. I mean, there has to be a reason.
Yeah, like Emu having the flower garden there, always being in the flower garden. Like, I feel like there's some kind of, he's inferring something. There's some kind of connection between Emu and the Sunlight Tree Eve.
Yeah, and it's like the tree. I mean, like, we know that Fishman Island's right below the Holy Land, and we know the roots are there. We know the tree goes through the freaking red line, so there's nowhere else for the tree to be but inside the Holy Land, and we never see it from an outside, so it has to be inside the building, and the top has to be in the garden. There's nowhere else. It doesn't make any sense for it to be anywhere else. So it has to be something important, and I still believe, like, with my Devil Fruit theory, that the Eve tree was part of the creation of the Devil Fruit's origins, and it would make sense because, like, the names Eve, like in the Bible, with the fruit, the forbidden fruit, and Eve first ate the apple. It makes sense.
Yeah,
so
and
I'm sticking with that for sure.
In the Romance Dawn, the Romance Dawn one shot prototype for One Piece, Garp in that manga says that the Devil Fruits come from a tree.
5 billion. Yeah, and he says that the gum fruit was worth 5 billion.
Yes, he does.
Just like laws. But we never hear that in the canon, but I still take that as basically canon.
So how I would approach this situation is I would say, like, yes, this information is not canon, but it is guaranteed that Oda has at least had these thoughts before. So even though, let's say, for an example, Devil Fruits coming from the magical tree is not in the canon, Oda has thought of that before. And when we read One Piece, that's not negated. You cannot show us a panel that proves Devil Fruits can never come from a magical tree.
Yeah. I was mostly thinking, like, with the price on Luffy's Devil Fruit, I think is canon more so, but I do think that it will be canon, including like the tree and everything. Like that will be, like, I think the Eve tree will be that too. So I mean, I would agree with both. But yeah.
All right, SL, I appreciate you hopping in, bro. We'll rotate back to you if you're still here. Thank you for all of that, man. Guys, are you pro? I don't even know what to call it. Pro Devil Fruit tree? Comment down below. Are you guys pro Devil Fruit Tree? Do the Devil Fruits ultimately come from Sunlight Tree Eve or some magical tree out there? Let me know. Shout out to SL. Thank you for always giving us some great ideas, great thoughts, man. Jabril, are you looking to join the calls by any chance? Because I invited you earlier, but I don't know what happened, Jabril. Did you fall asleep? If not, we're gonna have to go to G Money. If we're applying Occam's razor for now, it's Ope related. I don't know. I mean, someone can argue the obvious route, the least amount of entities would be all of the rituals we're seeing. I mean, Emu's been granting a lot of power to Saturn, to Gonko. Maybe the coughing, maybe the drawbacks are from those rituals. But I understand the point. It could, I'm not arguing it's not open-to-me related. It very well could be, but what if it's because Lily didn't join the other kings? What are you referring to? I think you posted this comment way before. I don't remember what we were saying at that point. You can leave, go to laugh at the regular people, or scout for islands for killing games. I'm going to say he didn't bleed until the TP to Elbaf. Wonder if Oda had a Banyan wishing tree in mind in regards to the origin of devil fruits at first, but then went the sea devil idea and now is looking for the Nika fruit or the devil fruit route. Yeah, guys, in case you don't know what Jordan is referring to, very, very early in the One Piece manga, Shanks was talking to Buggy when they were kids on the Roger ship, and Shanks said that devil fruits come from the sea devil. So that has sparked a lot of ideas and thoughts within the One Piece community. I think I tweeted about this exact thing a few years ago, because that's like one of those things like so early in the manga that if you haven't read the One Piece manga, or if maybe you did read it like so long ago, you forgot about it, right? Because there's just so many chapters in One Piece. There's so many characters, islands, battles, arcs. There's just so much that a normal person can't remember it all, you know? Jabril requested to speak, I think, in Discord. I think what we're seeing, that icon by his name of the palm, is actually my invitation to him. I think he needs to accept the invite. I don't even think he's awake. He might have fell asleep. All right, let's get G Money in here. G Money, I have invited you to the call.
I'm good with you, my boy.
Yo, what's good, man?
I'm good. I think I was saying earlier is I think y'all were talking about like when they're allowed to leave the Holy Land, or like Emu like brainwashes them or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can go leave to laugh at regular people or scout for islands.
In the sense that you won't get a drawback from it?
Oh, okay. That's what I was missing. That's what you were talking about. Okay.
When you were saying that,
only people with covenants probably would be damaged. Then.
Well, yeah, people. I mean, if someone doesn't have a diabolical covenant, what would make them hindered leaving? Why would they be any different than someone else? Like St. Charlos didn't have like any type of hindrance, right? When he was at Shabandi.
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now. Have we ever seen Shamrock different because he was on the mainland? Have we ever seen Jupiter different because he was on the mainland?
Well, we saw this is actually a really, really good point you bring up. We saw Shamrock on Elbaf seem normal to me, but the only one we're seeing that's like struggling outside is Emu. That's such a good point, because then you could use that as like a stool to stand up and ask, what makes Emu different than all these other guys? Why is Emu the one coughing blood and not the other guys? It must be some property that applies to Emu but not the other guys. Well, Emu's the one that's seemingly granting the Holy Knights and the Gorsei power. Doesn't seem that the Gorsei and the Holy Knights are granting each other power. Is it because Emu's granting everyone power that he's coughing up blood? See, we could try to narrow it down to properties that only apply to Emu and not everyone else, given that Emu's the one suffering and not everyone else.
So yeah, an even better way to put it is, in terms of power or covenants, you would agree that the 5 elders have to be the highest, and maybe Shamrock and maybe his dad Garlic just got the highest covenant, right? But when you saw the 5 elders TP onto Egghead, they seemed pretty okay.
Yeah, they seem normal, but even with Shamrock, I might call that into question, because we learned from the recent SBS volume that the one who met the Gorsei in 905 or whatever, that was Shamrock. It wasn't Shanks. And in that conversation, they're talking down on him. They're saying, you have nothing to do with politics, Shamrock. Like, making it seem like he's lower than them. Like, at least in terms of the Gorsei, they're acting like they're the ones with authority, not Shamrock. Shamrock, you're just a bodyguard kind of thing.
No, you're right. Then that tracks because of how they treated Garling right when he first ascended.
Yeah. Yeah. That as well, yeah.
But that just makes me think, what is going on in Shamrock's head? Like, do Shamrock and Garling think they're the actual, like, goats? Like, they kind of need to take control because the 5 elders are incompetent, and you know, like, Shamrock seems too confident in himself to be like a mere kind of, you know.
I guess I would want to approach the bigger context here.
I'm saying that as like an argument that they have like the highest level of.
Is it confirmed? Okay, there's 2 things I want to talk about. With Shamrock, did they confirm that he had the highest covenant? Because I don't remember.
I'm assuming that he doesn't, but I can't remember.
Okay, so with Shamrock showing up to Elbaf, I think we should ask the bigger context, like talk about the bigger context. I would argue that when Shamrock was speaking to the Gorsei about a pirate they need to worry about, he was talking about Loki, because Loki used to sail the seas and terrorizing the seas up until it got him. He attained a bounty, right? So he was a pirate, for one, and for two, when we see Shamrock make an action, when he makes a move after this conversation with the Gorsei, his move is going to Elbaf, talking to Loki, trying to recruit Loki. So I think when he talks about a pirate that the Gorsei need to worry about, it's Loki. And the reason why it's Shamrock that's going to Loki, the reason why we're wondering, is it because the Gorsei are incompetent or whatever? I think it's probably because that it was Shamrock that brought it up. So they're like, okay, Shamrock, you're telling me about Loki. We need to worry about him. We need to recruit him. He has all this power or whatever. Okay, how about you go deal with it then, Shamrock? It might be like something straightforward like that, but I don't know. That almost feels like a guess on my part.
Well, I mean, we can confirm that Emu has no idea about Loki, and if what you're saying is true, then the 5 others never talked to Emu about Loki, because Emu said himself, "Oh, okay, you're the guy who was fucking up." Or sorry.
No, it's okay. yo, everybody. When you guys join the calls and you use a naughty word, don't worry about it. It's just me, myself. I try to be professional, you know. But you guys don't apologize. It literally doesn't matter at all. I want everyone say exactly how you feel, unfiltered. Don't even worry about it.
I got you. Yeah. So, I mean, he had no idea. He got there and said, "Oh my God, all right, so you're the one that messed everything up back then, and now you're the reason I have to deal with you." And so, I think.
So Emu was like out of the loop.
I would say you're right, because if Shanks is the person that dealt with him, and Shamrock, I'm guessing, probably took it personal when Shanks betrayed him and went back to the main world. Like, he would have been tracking what Shanks was doing and been like, "Okay, Loki's the problem, but Shanks have to deal with him."
That's an interesting connection. I didn't even think of it like that. So you would say, like, from Shamrock to Loki, Shanks is the middleman.
100%.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
You make a
You
really
know,
good
Shamrock.
point. How is Shamrock knowing about Loki? Like, how do you go from Shamrock to Loki? Isn't Shamrock like a Marijoan bodyguard? How does he know about Loki and why he's such a threat? Well, Shanks. That's a good point. I never even thought about any of this.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, the way Shamrock was talking to Shanks when they were together in Mary's Rob made it seem like he genuinely cared about him there, which is weird because when you see him every other time, it seems like a person with no heart. Or I don't know if that's just how Celestial Dragons are coded, where they can't feel emotion for each other, or and just treat everybody else like insects and stuff. But if Shamrock did care about Shanks, then you have to take that personal, no? Leaving and betraying everything that you were going to be given, whatever.
Yeah, so maybe like you said, he's kind of watching Shanks, spying on Shanks, you know, being that Shanks is presumably his brother. He hears about this Loki situation. Maybe Shamrock starts studying Loki because of what he saw from Shanks.
And again, I want to go back and look at that panel where you're saying Shamrock. Okay, so it was confirmed that Shamrock was the one that was talking to the five elders.
Yeah, that was in the recent SBS. Yeah.
And then what did the five elders say? You're saying like, hey, you're like going out of your lane, like you're not supposed to worry about the politics.
Yeah, when Shamrock first walked in the room, they were saying like, you have nothing to do with authority and politics. Like, we made time because you're a holy knight, but it's the reverie. Like, you need to just kind of leave us alone. Let me go pull up the chapter. But now that I'm thinking about it some more, this is in a slightly different lane. With Shamrock warning about Loki, why is Shamrock warning about Loki? Loki's like imprisoned.
I would say he's imprisoned. He's warning because looking at everything now, only him and Kaido would have ever been a threat, and maybe Big Mom. Because I don't think White Raider's ever going to do anything. And then Smokey Gabon is saying there's no confirmation. Yeah, he's 100% right. But I'm just saying there. I have a feeling that Shamrock would take it some type of way personal, and if he's speaking just as a matter of fact to Loki, it's because he would never want to show that he feels any type of way about it. And I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying what I think.
No, it's all good, bro. We're all throwing our ideas out, but like I'm very much sold on the idea that Loki is the pirate Shamrock was warning the Gorsey about, but now on second, third, fourth, fifth thought, why though? Like, yeah, I understand you're saying that Loki would be a great threat next to Kaido and Big Mom and whatnot, but like still, like Loki's just a prisoner. Why is he a threat? Like, yes, Loki's very strong, he's very powerful, Nidhogg fruit. I understand all that. I power scale Loki very high as well, but you get where I'm coming from? Like, he's just in prison, like he's just sitting there. Unless Shamrock knew that Loki was on his way, or Luffy was on his way to Loki, but I mean, how would Shamrock know that?
And this is just me trying to think of any possible reason. Not that I believe it is 100%, but maybe he's like, we need to get this guy under control, like we tried to do with King Harold. Possibly tried to get on Emu's good side or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, like maybe it's in that direction because the Gorsey, they want to have Elbaf under the flag. They want all the giants to join the world government because
he would be considered the next king, right? And Emu needs to make a deal with the king. But
yeah.
I guess like right then in that moment, he went for that old dude. I forgot his name. The story. So.
Harold?
Or no, he went. No, he told Dory and Brock that they're the king instead of Loki.
Right. Now, my thing is like, how does this connect to warning about or the talking about Loki? Well, maybe it's not warning. I think like in the way that Shamrock technically worded it is like, there's someone I need to talk to you about. Maybe it's not necessarily a warning. Maybe he's saying like, hey, there's a pirate I need to talk to you about, Loki. This dude is so strong, so powerful. Shanks threw him in prison in Elbaf. What if we go recruit Loki to the Holy Knights, and this will cause the world government to have Elbaf and all the giants under our wing? Shouldn't we go recruit Loki? Maybe it's something like that.
And can we say because it's not Shanks anymore. It's not about Blackbeard, or would Shamrock have anything like any?
Well, yeah. So I wouldn't. I think this is what you were saying. Not confirmed. It's not confirmed that Loki is the pirate Shamrock warned about. That's just, I think, the highest probability. But of course, it's definitely possible that it's not Loki. It could be Blackbeard.
Shanks had the eye scar in Mary Joie. Would he have told Shamrock about Blackbeard in order to gain information about the things that he doesn't know about, like as in Void Sentry? And
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't remember if he had the scar at that point. That's a good point. But that would be kind of funny, where it's like, took Shamrock so long, all those years, to start talking about Blackbeard. But I mean, it's possible. Maybe Shamrock needed time to figure out like what the hell is going on with Blackbeard.
I think it might be then, because was that after he got the second fruit, and then so Shamrock sees the proof of him having a second fruit, and like, okay, all right, now we know something is connected.
So like initially, maybe from Shanks, it's like, okay, maybe there's something sus going on with Blackbeard. I'm not completely sold. Then, as you say, he sees the second fruit and he's like, oh shoot, no, there is something going on.
Exactly, that's what I would say right now.
That's possible.
So yeah, things had just gotten attacked by Blackbeard and then went to Mary's Rock. Was buddy with Shamrock.
I'm definitely open to that. That's very, very much possible. Blackbeard is the pirate Shamrock wanted to talk about. I pulled up the officials. There's a pirate I need to talk to you about. Now, that is not necessarily warning you. Like, I could give, maybe I have an idea. Maybe we could manipulate this pirate. Yo, there's someone I need to talk to you about, right? It doesn't have to be a warning per se. And this could work for Blackbeard, but I'm just trying to give more context to you guys in the chat. There's a pirate I need to talk to you about.
This is, we need somebody that has the Japanese translations for that panel, because I guarantee you it's not just exactly talking about, and there's like some nuance that we're missing.
Yeah, I've looked at the Japanese for this chapter many years ago, especially with the interpretation from the Japanese readers. Basically, it's they were disrespecting Shamrock. They looked down on Shamrock. And I say Shamrock because now with the recent SBS, we know it's Shamrock. So all the Japanese fans, they unanimously agree that this dude, Shamrock, is being talked down on in this chapter. But in the context of this last dialogue panel that you're calling into question, there's a pirate I need to talk to you about. I don't remember exactly what it was that they said, but if we have a ground floor to work with, maybe we could just use the English. There's a pirate I need to talk to you about, which is, I feel like that's a bit different than there's someone I need to warn you about. You know, like if I want to talk to you about something, doesn't necessarily make it a warning. But really quick, I want to go back. When we're talking about or guessing who this person is, who this pirate is that Shamrock's wanting to discuss, I think Loki has higher explanatory power than Blackbeard. Because if we go down the route of saying Loki was a pirate, Shamrock then went to Elbaf immediately after this. You know, this dialogue would fit perfectly into the events that we're currently witnessing, with Shamrock going to Elbaf and Loki now going head to head with Emu, right? Emu showed up to Elbaf. I feel like that has more explanatory power than Blackbeard, because if Shamrock is saying, hey, we need to talk about Blackbeard. Well, Shamrock didn't go to Blackbeard. He's not looking for Blackbeard. Instead, he went to Loki and he went to Elbaf, you know? So I feel like even though, yes, it's unconfirmed, if Shamrock's talking about Loki, I think that has more explanatory power. So I think it's more likely, although not confirmed.
Is because is it because the Straw Hats are on their way and they're like, okay, we need to deal with this now, get the Giants on our side?
Yeah, so
why they said they went.
Yeah, that would be a good question. I'll have to reread, but I mean, at least from this core source point onwards, they want all the power of Elbaf and the Giants, but I don't know exactly what made them. What triggered that? Like, what triggered him to have this idea? What made him think like, hey, we need to go get Loki, because if we have Loki and the Holy Knights, we're going to be so strong and we're going to have all of Elbaf and the Giants on our side. Like, what triggered this thought? I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, when you say it like that, then it has to be the hockey knot that made Inu scared, and he's like, "We need to go."
Well, interestingly enough, this conversation between Shamrock and the Gorsei took place prior to Elbaf, or prior to Egghead. I think, right? Didn't this happen? Because this was after. This was before Wano.
Before Wano, after. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. You raised good questions. I don't know what suddenly gave Shamrock, again, if it's Loki that he's talking about, if I don't know what would have triggered this idea. Why didn't they do this 2 years ago?
That's what I said earlier, that because he followed Shanks after he left and knew that Shanks had went and dealt with Loki.
But Shanks dealt with Loki. Didn't they say that was like 6 years ago? I think.
Yeah, but Shanks or Shamrock would have been watching Shanks the entire time.
Why? Yeah. So why didn't Shamrock come up with this idea like a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago? Is there a reason it's now?
Yeah, now I see what you're saying.
I mean, because don't get me wrong, like we can always when something happens, we can always ask why now. But some things have to happen at some point. You know, like you can ask, okay, like when Shamrock, there could have been at any point in time where Shamrock wanted to talk about Loki, but regardless of when that took place, we could always ask why then. But maybe it just had to happen at some point. Maybe it's a situation like that. Like it was like a ticking time bomb. Like it was going to happen eventually. So maybe there's not much reason as to why now.
Palmer said that maybe Harold's grave. I don't know what that means.
Summer said that maybe visiting Harold's grave. All right. G Money, is there any other things you want to bring up before we cycle through more people?
No, honestly, I'm more of a listen to what you guys say and piece together. I don't have no theory to go around.
All right. Appreciate you being here, bro. Take care, G Money. Hopefully we could chop it up again. God bless you, bro. I got my Steam account yesterday, so we're gonna have to play Rocket League. And I know my Xbox controller is somewhere in the vicinity, so we need to play some Rocket League. I definitely need to eat lunch soon though. I have not eaten today. I'm really hungry. But here, let's put multiple people in the call. Maybe not too many people. That way everyone gets a chance to speak. Yo, what's going on, boys and girls?
Yo, if you get a Steam account, I got one also.
Oh, great. Okay, so all of us need to add each other on Steam. All right.
But I mean, as my method was, Sonic mentioned Shamrock to be visiting Harold's grave.
You said Shamrock visited Harold's grave?
It's in chapter 1140 when Sonic came up with something about Shamrock visiting Harold's grave.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me pull up 1140. Vincent, you're a little muffled. Maybe you're too close to the. Excuse me, too close to the mic. Okay, I pulled up 1140. So, but yeah, are you saying that Shamrock had this idea because of Harold's grave? Is that what
I'm saying? That that Senator said, and Shamrock was there because he was with the character. And maybe kind of like how Shanks was afraid of terrorists, Shamrock wanted to try to befriend Loki in the sense of a subordinate. If that makes sense.
So Shamrock wanted to do the same thing they did with Harold, but with Loki, like take him as a subordinate.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think, Smokey?
Yeah.
So, hold on. Okay. 1 second. Vincent, there's like some music or television or something in the background. Do you mind turning that down a little bit?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Now, what was your question again?
Do you think Shamrock? Okay, let's say, for sake of the conversation, Loki or Shamrock was talking to the Gorsey about Loki.
Right.
Do you
I
think?
also agree with that.
Do you think Shamrock brought this up because he thought about the Herald situation in the past, and he's like, "Yo, let's try again, but this time with Loki"?
Yeah, no. I mean, that would kind of make logical sense again with me, like just approaching it kind of like a diplomat. I mean, your aggression's not going to be your first, go-to, I would think, in a situation like this, considering how much Emu valued Harold. So I figured they would at least approach his son with the same kind of respect and just try to like butter him up to get him to agree. And then Loki, as we know, he refused. So Shamrock hit him with Cerberus, and then we got Oda nerfing another character before a fight. Gerd said, "These injuries will take 6 months."
Can you two? No. I'm here. Vincent and Smokey,
Okay.
can you two just kind of chat it up and keep the stream busy because I have to deal with something for now.
You guys want to hear?
Yeah, chat. What are you guys thinking? Sorry, I gotta deal with something right now. Sorry. Actually, I might have to run to a clinic. Also, I gotta get lunch here soon. My wife is dealing with an issue with her finger, chat. So might have to end here in a little bit. But you know what? We've been here 2 hours now, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Chat, everyone in the text chat, go ahead, ask your comments, questions, theories, concerns, anything you guys are thinking, a theory you want to share, whatever it is, make it known. Our lovely guests, Vincent and Smokey, will answer your questions, guys.
Yeah, Vince. Hold on. Never mind. We were just discussing that. That wouldn't work. You see something, Vince? Or you got something in mind? Maybe it could be something you and I talked about the other day.
Venus to this because of his frozen slash that we saw on Big Head.
Yeah, when he was freezing up the pacifistas, when he was destroying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It's possible.
All right, guys, I'm gonna be heading out here. This was a fun stream to hold us off for the break week. I know technically the break week's like about to be over, but I find that the weekend streams are better because you guys are usually busy during the week with school and work and all these responsibilities. So, I figured let's just do the stream on the weekend. Hope you guys had fun. Smokey, Vincent, thank you both so much. Thank you tremendously, as well as Jabril, Mr. Asleep, JK $, Damon, Sherm, SL, everyone in chat, Jordan, Abigna. Thank you guys for being here. Chat, love you guys greatly. I'm excited for 1185. Hope it's a good flashback. Hope it's a good chapter. Thank you all for being here, guys. Pray for Dawn.
Is right. It'll be the end. And Smokey's right. It'll be the end of the book. Right.
It'll be end of the flashback.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the streets are saying right now, but take it with a grain of salt.
That make it the shortest flashback we've gotten so far, or are they short?
I mean, a lot of the pre-time skip flashbacks are short. Some flashbacks are like 5 panels, but I mean, we would have to decide like, okay, does this constitute a flashback? Because there's like moments of like maybe in Wano we get like a 2-panel flashback of, oh, remember that one certain thing Kinemon said on Punk Hazard? Like, does that necessarily constitute as a flashback? Most people would probably say no. But anyways, I see what your general point is. This would definitely be a short flashback.
I would preference it like as a special type of criteria. Like, we got to look at a dedicated character flashback. That way we could rule out like just the panel, like the short panel ones that are like one-offs.
All right. Again, thank you guys for being here, guys. Pray for Dawn of Ascension. She woke up with like a super swollen, very painful finger. No idea how that even happened overnight. It's only one finger. So I'm gonna go take care of that, and I definitely need some lunch. Yeah, boy is hungry. Thank you guys for being here. Truly, I love chatting with you guys, getting to hear more takes and theories. Guys, do some thinking on your own as well, guys. Figure out what is the full true context about Shamrock wanting to talk to the Gorsei about a certain pirate. Is it Loki? If so, why? Why did Shamrock just suddenly think about this? Why didn't he do this a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Because Loki's been in prison for, I think, 6 years or something like that. Think about these things. Maybe it's not even Loki. Maybe it's someone else. I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts in the future. Take care, though, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys at the 1185 spoilers stream. Take care, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Abigna, you're hilarious. Thank you, Smokey. Thank you, Vincent. Absolute legends. God bless all of you.
Yes.